Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and EBONY MAW's uniform is just a few short days away. You can actually see the in-game timer here. He's going to be changed into a blast type, but a lot of speculation still exists around how this character and where this character is really going to fit into the meta of the game, because it's no exaggeration to say the other four members of the Black Order, Cull Obsidian or Black Dwarf, Corvus, Supergiant, and even Proxima, have shifted the meta in both PvE and PvP, and Ebony could do both as well, which is really interesting because it's just so unexpected. You know, two of them got changed. You got blast speed and now in combat, and yet they're all performing at a very, very high level. So, and he might even be getting a tier 3. He's data mined to get a tier 3 as per the Reddits, but you know, those things are always subject to speculation and you can't guarantee it until you actually see it. But what could Ebony really do with a tier 3 and with these skill and passive changes? So that's what I wanted to talk about today, and really give you guys a more expanded view on the character now and how he is going to evolve when he gets his uniform. So the big thing here, like Supergiant, is that his previous passive just buffs up the damage of his summons, because he has summons on his 4th skill. Yeah, he's got these summons here that last for 7 seconds. They look like apparitions, sort of like mini what are they called? Those wraiths from Harry Potter, the Dementors. They kind of sort of look like mini Dementors. Anyways, you can see them in the World Boss Ultimate fight with Ebony. But yeah, so he's losing that passive, I believe. Yeah, he's losing that passive, and he's gaining a whopping 30% mind damage and 30% damage reduction. So that looks PvP, PvE, and PvP, right? All his skills are also turning to mind damage, so that means he's going to be very good against himself. Giggity. It also means that he's going to be not usable. He won't be usable at all against Supergiant World Boss. Now, that might not be relevant for some of you, but it is relevant for others, because Supergiant has 100% mind resistance. So if you use the new Jean Grey uniform, you can't do any damage unless you ult, because all her skills are either, well, you can do a little bit of damage there with 2, but the rest of the skills do 0 damage. And then, of course, only Revelation does damage. Supergiant herself cannot do anything against Supergiant, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty interesting to see, but because he's getting that big elemental shift for all of his skills, of course, the CTP that people are going to jump to suggest for him is a CTP of Judgment. But if we go into the skill preview, we can actually see that his skills, and he has a really sick entrance, actually, that's really sick. We can see that his skills are actually super cancelable. So we check out his 3rd skill here. I want to check out actually all his skills. So this is basically his intro, but it's supersized. You'd think there was VPAT on this skill, but there isn't. So you actually can't move around during this skill, but it's okay because you're going to want to cancel it into another skill. His 5th skill here, we got some SFX, which looks really dope. He teleports away, teleports up, and then he launches this meteor at you. It may be harder to cancel this skill or to figure out the timing for this skill cancel with SFX on, but we'll have to wait and see if he needs SFX for his tier 3 or not. It's not the same as the awakening for the other 3 members. And then his 4th skill here, he creates this amazing tornado. Really, really cool stuff. And actually, all of those skills are cancelable. His 2 is very similar to his 2 that he has now, and his 1 is pretty bad, I would say. It's good that it has paralysis and burn for ABX, but none of his other skills have silence. So if his tier 3 has silence, then he could do all 3 months of ABX. But, and again, this is where I start to try to answer the question, where is he going to fit in the game, PvE and PvP wise? But it's not really that relevant for Ebony to have paralysis, burn, and silence for ABX, because as a blast villain, even if he's tier 3, I mean, he could be really good, don't get me wrong, he could be the best, but he's going to have to directly compete with Moonstone and Mephisto. That is a really tall task. I do not expect him to compete with them. Maybe he's going to complement them. Maybe you're going to want to run all 3 of them or 2 of them. Who knows? But yeah, I wouldn't get too excited about the fact that he has 2 of the 3 needed skill effects on the same skill. It's cool. We haven't actually seen that too much with characters having multiple of those ABX required skills for canceling the roar on the same skill, which lets you double dip in that sense. But yeah, so one rotation that a lot of people have found pretty satisfying, again, we're not incorporating his tier 3 because we don't know if he's going to get one, would be 3 cancel 5, or possibly 5 cancel 3, and then into 4. I actually did it completely. Oh, the meteor takes a really long time. So you know what, given that the meteor takes a really long time, but there are hits at the beginning. Yeah, the thing is, there are hits at the beginning of his 5th skill, so Otherwise, I would say you could do that, but the 5th skill has all these hits at the beginning. You can see the hit marker is racking up. Let me turn off SFX and let's see how different it is. But yeah, the 3 is instant cancel. So the 3 is never going to be the last skill that you end on. You're never going to want to... But yeah, I think the meteor comes down when he teleports away. But the meteor takes a really, really long time to get there. So it may make it very hard. You may want to, if you don't have a CTP of Judgment, if you're giving him like a double mind damage proc or a CTP of Energy, something like that, you may want to proc on 3, cancel 4, and then splash into 2, and then start the 5 sort of at the end of your rotation, and then go back into 3, cancel 4, and then here is where you would proc on all 3 of them. But he actually doesn't have that many hits. That was only 100. That was 150 hits from 4 skills because I did 3, 4, actually 5 skills. I did 3, 4, and then 5, and then 2, and then 5, and then 3, 4 again, right? So if you look at this, the number of hits here, it's actually not that many. I don't know if that's going to oh, it resets. Oh, my bad, it doesn't reset. But yeah, so 150 hits is actually not bad for the 3 skill combo of a delayed 5 cancel 3, 4. That's actually not bad. 150 hits is 50 hits per enemy. That's actually pretty good. But yeah, that's how his skills sort of shake out, and it'll be interesting to see. The other thing you could do is you could do 3, cancel 4, cancel 5. Now, again, 4, that might be a little bit better, but 5 is just so delayed that you almost wouldn't want to end with 5 because then it leaves this huge gap. There are hits, right? There are these hits here, but we don't know how much damage these hits are going to do, and that's the other thing you have to test, right? Is the damage on the hits at the beginning? Is the damage on the meteor? Sometimes the skill that looks the most damaging, like Captain Marvel flying into space and launching, bringing down a giant meteorite onto your head, actually does the least damage, and it's her most basic skill where she's just punching you with her 4th skill that actually does the most damage. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how the damage shakes out, but it's really nice to see that he has not only beautiful skills like that huge dark blue tornado, we got the classic meteorite summon, we've got that really cool 3rd skill. Not only do they look really satisfying, but they also seem to synergize really well with one another to combo for, you know, either a CTP of Judgment or a CTP of Energy or some sort of obelisk to do maximum damage instead of just, you know, a very simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 type of rotation. But then we have some other buffs, and so right now the place that Ebony is used, he's basically only used in 1 game mode right now, and it's, you might not notice it if you don't play PvP, but he's used in PvP as a support. You can see him here on the #1 players team for Vibranium, and if you go down, you'll find him not on every team. We could actually check some challenger teams as well. He won't be on every team, but he will be on a healthy number of teams. There's another one. And it's basically just for his uniform effect. I'm actually using him on my PvP team right now, and the reason why people use Ebony Maw is because he won't have his passive buff that applies to his allies. It won't be removed, or it won't be negated by Molecule Man's leadership. So, you know, Colossus, Mystique, Taskmaster, Nick Fury, all of those passives and things will be negated and rendered useless by Molecule Man's leadership, but Ebony's isn't, on top of the fact that Ebony's passive is all about universal types, and universal types, of course, are the most popular for PvP. Sentry, Jean Grey, Silver Surfer, you know, Molecule Man himself, 4 of the top 5 PvP characters are all universal. So because of that, having a 25, the current buff here, having a 25% increased damage against them and taking 25% less damage from them is big. Again, on top of the fact that it's not going to be, there's no way to sort of remove it. That's actually getting buffed up to 35. And again, this can also be used for PvE. So even if Ebony, well, not even if, but even if he's not a very strong standalone tier 3 for PvE, because of the fact that he's still going to retain his leadership, because his leadership hasn't changed here. His leadership is going to give at least 40% increased energy attack. Now, keep in mind, they might change this. They might change it from all allies to just the Black Order. We don't know. That would be kind of a bummer, but they could keep it the same. They could increase it. It could go up to 45 or 50%. If it stays the same in terms of applying to all allies, at the very least, he'll be like Proxima, right? Because he'll give you 40% or more energy attack, which is a really good leadership for PvE content. And then when you're fighting any boss except for Mephisto, Mephisto, Quicksilver, Cable, Scarlet, or Apocalypse, he's going to buff your damage by 35% against those other, 7 bosses. and he's going to reduce the damage you take. So really, really strong passive for PvE and PvP. Really strong PvE leadership. His tier 2 passive is changing. This is where people get confused though. It only applies to himself. I've seen people say he has such an amazing, double passive for all allies. I wish, but no. So he basically gets a really juicy skill damage, bonus damage increase, which is really nice. 40 and 30% is very, very high. It's up from 35 and 25, so it's going up by 5 and 15%, which is big. But the really big part here for him specifically, and why I sort of hope that he's a good standalone character, is because he's going to deal 30% more damage to villains and 50% more damage to heroes. That's huge, really good. And that could make him a threat for PvP, because you can still pair him up with this Molecule Man team or whatever. But most of the top 5 best characters for PvP, again, Sentry, Silver Surfer, Jean Grey, Luke Cage, they're all heroes, right? There's very few strong villains for PvP. So, and he's still going to do more damage against them anyways, right? It's not like he doesn't get anything. He gets 30%, but he gets a whopping 50% against heroes. So 50% increased damage against heroes, stacked potentially on top of a 35% increase against universals. Then you have the 35% decreased damage received, stacking with the 30% damage reduction on this one. He could be like, you can see how the passives stack up, and it's like, damn, he's going to do a lot of damage, and he's not going to take much damage, and that goes for both PvE and PvP. So he's a very interesting character right now, and I'm really excited to see how good he's going to end up being. At the very, very least, though, I think his uniform is going to be a conditional purchase for people who are going to want to use him for PvP and or use him as a support / leadership for PvE, especially World Boss Legend, right? We're always hunting for more leaderships and more passive supports like this. It won't apply against Mephisto, but it'll apply against Null, and it'll apply against any future World Boss Legends that are universal. On top of the fact that if we get a World Boss Legend that is a combat hero, that would be like the ultimate benefit for Ebony. If we got a combat hero World Boss Legend for whatever reason, not only would he do 50% more damage to them because they're heroes, right? But then he would also take advantage of the type advantage. He would be changed to Blast, right? So then he would do an additional 60% damage to Blast like this, right? He would do an extra 60% damage to combat types. So that would be absolutely bonkers. And even if they weren't combat, if they were, speed, universal, or blast, he still gets that juicy 50%, which is basically giving him part of Valkyrie's passive all the time. So it's pretty crazy. Last thing I want to say here, I actually just noticed, and this was one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video. Jeez, I can't press that button. When I got to Null stage 30, right? I actually pushed up to stage 33 today, or 32, excuse me. I couldn't complete 33. But look at this. What are the requirements? Blast types. Huh. Guess who I could use? I mean, you can see here the characters that are available. They're okay. There's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. There's 18 characters available. Not bad. I don't think I'm missing anyone. I'm trying to think who I don't have transcended. But yeah, the transcended characters I don't have are speed, universal, combat, and speed. So I don't think I'm missing anyone. Maybe a uniform swap could make me change could change this number around. But anyways, there's not that many. There's actually not that many. So having him tier 3 and change to Blast would actually help a lot. Yeah, we already have really good Blast leaderships like Cyclops and Star-Lord and Doctor Strange, but still, another one wouldn't hurt at all. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think and how strong you think Ebony is going to be. Is he going to shift the meta like Supergiant in a big way? Is he going to shift the meta in a smaller way like Corvus or Proxima? Or is it going to be something else entirely? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.